Hello, welcome to another episode of Looking Good with Nate. This is the trailer reaction to Dave Chappelle's new Netflix stand-up trailer. I enjoyed the two previous Netflix stand-ups he had. They're very strange names. I don't know. I'm sure they make sense to him. I don't think they make sense to the general public, but maybe that's not the point. But they were funny nonetheless. I know he got some heat for some trans stuff, for some anti-trans prejudice stuff, or rather, for some trans prejudice stuff, or anti-trans, prejudice stuff. And again, I'm not trans, so I have a hard time. Like, those weren't jokes that, he probably could have done without them. I don't know. And I'm not trans, so I didn't find them particularly offensive. I'm sure there were trans people out there that did find them somewhat humorous, but I'm sure there were also some people out there that were offended by those comments. Of course, if you look at most comedians throughout history, the vast majority of them have some jokes that offend some people. And I bet you have laughed at jokes at the expense of other people. That's all I'm going to say. Comedy's supposed to push the boundaries. It's supposed to go right up to the line. Sometimes comedians cross that line. That doesn't mean that them crossing the line was right. It was the wrong thing to do by definition. But that's their job, is trying to go right up to the line. But they can't. They're not perfect, so they can't always hit the mark right where it's supposed to be hit. Like, if you like people like John Delaney, like, that's cool. But like if you just like John Delaney and only like John Delaney, that's not. And people like John Delaney, like, that's a style of comedy, but that's not all of comedy. So you can consider yourself a fan of John Delaney, but you can't consider yourself a fan of comedy, because comedy is much more than your John Delaney's, your Seinfelds. Like, it's about your Richard Pryors, your Dave Chappelle's, your Joey Diaz's, your Tom Segura's, Amy Schumer, Sarah Silverman, like, all these people. Like, they all have jokes that are definitely going to be offensive for some people, but that doesn't mean that they're not funny. And I guess that's all that I'm going to say. I said that a little bit earlier, but that's all I'm going to say. Let's watch the teaser.
This is Dave.
Is that
He
Morgan
tells
Freeman?
Jokes for a living. Hopefully, he makes people laugh. But these days, it's a high-stakes game. How did we get here, I wonder?
That shirt looks like a dress.
Metaphorically, I'm really asking, how did Dave get here? I mean, what the fuck is this? But what do I know? I'm just Morgan Freeman.
It was. I was right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you say anything, you risk everything. But if that's the way it's gotta be, okay, fine. Fuck it. He's back, folks.
Nice. Okay. I guess I didn't even need to say that preamble. That was all pretty much covered by Morgan Freeman here in the trailer. Like, this, like, comedy, like, each comedian isn't for everybody. But just because a comedian isn't for you doesn't mean that they shouldn't. Like, that doesn't mean you should. I mean, you can boycott them, but that doesn't mean you should tell other people to boycott them. I mean, you can tell other people to boycott them, but that doesn't mean you should be angry with those people that choose to not boycott them. Like, obviously, like, give your 2 cents. Tell your friends how you feel about this. Let them understand the full parameters of your feelings and your interpretations of this comedian's stand-up. But then if they, despite hearing your feelings and your interpretations, after still hearing that and still wanting to be interested in this comedian, then pat yourself on the back. You did all you could, but that just means that comedian isn't for you. That doesn't mean they're inherently bad. And I mean, Dave Chappelle still, like, he's not saying I like all of his comedy, because I don't. I really don't. There are lots of jokes that he says that I can't say any. I can't bring up any because I don't remember them, because they enter my mind. I don't find them funny, and then I let them go, because I understand comedians don't do anything but talk shit. Like, that's all they do. Like, it's not like they're not the stand-ins, and some comedians get a little egotistical, and they kind of think this way, but like the comedians are not the stand-ins for philosophers like Socrates and Plato and Aristotle back in the day. They are not their surrogates now. They are not their modern day replacements. That's not the place for comedians. They like sure comedians do provoke thought, which is cool, but they're also not scholars. They also haven't. The majority of them have not done the work, or if they have done the work, they still have not. Like I guess I don't need to ramble on about it. Just comedians are not the same as philosophers. They're just not. They're similar, but they're not the same. I mean, but I don't need to belligerate at this point. Essentially, I hope you liked this trailer reaction. Maybe you didn't, but that's up to you. Tell your friends about it. Show your friends this trailer reaction. Comment below, but if you don't like this and your friends like it, don't call them, freaking insensitive, because they're not. They love you. They care about you. They just happen to find me mildly entertaining, and that's okay. We can have different tastes. We don't all have to be carbon copies of one another when it comes to what we find humorous and entertaining. But like I said, thank you for watching. Please like, share this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the Instagram page, Looking Good W Nate, Twitter page, LGW/Nate, Facebook page, Looking Good W/Nate. And then, of course, check out the podcast and my audio series, my own personal IP, on Spotify, Stitcher, and some on SoundCloud. There's a new episode up of Farewell Fairgood, but that's not on SoundCloud. That's only on Stitcher and Spotify. So, yeah, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day.